Hi friends! I'm so happy you're here today because I have a massive book unhaul. I have over 50 books to unhaul. It is time for another book unhaul. I did one back in March that was also over 50 books, but I've also hauled a lot of books from my birthday or just like doing a lot of book shopping and stuff, and I plan on doing more book shopping, but beforehand I was like, I have to unhaul some books. So some of these books will be on my Pango, and I'm going to try to time it where I start to post them on my Pango when this goes up on Monday at 9 o'clock. So yeah, let's get right into it, I guess, because it is a lot of books. Oh my gosh. And it's also because I'm organizing my books too, so I'm finding books that I'm like, why am I gonna read this? You know, that situation. So first up to go is some Barbara Kingsolver books. I have never read one of her books. I know she has a new one out right now. I forget the name of it, but it is about David Copperfield, and I'm kind of interested in it, or it's like a retelling of the Dickens David Copperfield, and I'm interested in that one, but I have heard good things about these, but I just don't read contemporary fic anymore, you know, so if I do, I will definitely use my local library for it. And then you guys probably knew this was happening. There's going to be some fantasy in this unhaul. I found that I had 2 first editions of some Wheel of Time books. These are massive, and they're taking up a lot of room on my bookshelves. They were on these bookshelves behind me, and I had no idea that they were there for so long. I had a tough time deciding which editions I was going to actually be collecting when I started reading Wheel of Time. I think I'm going to lean towards the paperback kind, the big floppy ones, and the trades. But when I started this series, I had a tough time deciding. So that's why I have a bunch of these. And the next couple of books are just some Stephen King books that I already have copies of. Well, I have the Green Mile broken down into each part books, if that makes any sense. So I don't need the movie edition. This is funny. This is not a Stephen King book. This is a Matheson book. But anyways, it's still a movie edition book of I Am Legend. I have another version of this already. And then I already have another version of Cell. So I don't need 2 versions of Cell. And then I have the old school version of The House of Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I won't be rereading this, but fun fact, I've been to the House of Seven Gables in Boston, and what a blast. I highly recommend that. I just had like a coughing fit. I must have inhaled some dust from these books. So I know I have a couple Anne Rule books in this stack, but I'm going to get rid of Small Sacrifices. I'm very familiar with this case, so I don't see myself reading the book anytime soon. And then this Neil Stevenson, The Diamond Age book, a young lady's illustrated primer. Have I read any Neil? I think I have read something from this author, but it's very like heavy sci-fi, and I haven't been reading like a ton of sci-fi in general, so I don't see myself reading this one anytime soon, but the cover is pretty cool. The next book is White is for Witching by Helen Oyami. I read this a couple years ago, and I did like it, but it is like a big brain book. I feel like I'm going to need to reread it a couple times, but I also feel like I'm not going to reread it, and my copy is damaged a bit, so if I ever reread it, I'd probably just borrow it. And I'm getting rid of The Devil's Disciple by Shirio Hamio. This is a thriller that I actually thrifted a year ago, I think, but I don't think I'm ever going to read it, and if I do, also I will probably just borrow it. And then Invasion of the Body Snatchers by Jack Finney. This is a classic, of course, and I read it a couple years ago when I started was it 2 years ago? I don't remember when I read it. I've read this book. I love the movie version, and I love the remake, I guess, in the 70s with Donald Sutherland so much. It's like one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever. But again, I don't see myself ever rereading it. Because it was kind of boring, honestly. The book, compared to the movies, both movies, the book is very boring. And then I also have Guards by Terry Pratchett. This is part of a series that I don't know the name of, Discworld. This is part of a Discworld series that the order is supposed to be kind of confusing to read. I don't think I'm ever going to read this. If I do again, I'd probably use my local library. All of these are like, I look at, I'm like, I'm just gonna borrow it if I ever get the urge to. And the next book is In the Garden of Spite by Camilla Bruce. This is a fiction book about the Bella Guinness, for America's first female serial killer. I'm gonna get it out now. So I read this this past winter. Was it this past winter? And I did really like it. I know a lot about Bella Guinness and stuff, but this was kind of cool fiction book about like making up like her past life and stuff. Like what made her kill, you know, because little is known about like the beginning of her life before she made it to the States. So that was really interesting. I do highly suggest this if you're into like true crime stuff, because it is really good. But I don't think I'm gonna reread it. The next book, this is so bad. So I pre-ordered Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis, and I never read it. This is another situation where I could just borrow it if I ever get the urge to read it. I know there's a sequel to it and everything, but yeah, I was way out of my sci-fi stage, I guess, when I ordered this, so never even cracked it. Same with Leviathan Wakes. I've had this since 2020 or 2019, and I never started it. It's massive, and it's part of like a big series, and it's like this epic space opera thing, and I think it's The Expanse. Yeah, it says it on there, and I was like, I'm gonna read this book series and I'm gonna watch The Expanse, and it just never happened, and it's been like 3 or 4 years, and I don't think it's going to happen. And then I just have a second copy of, this is just a double copy of The Well of Ascension, part of the Mistborn series. This is a series I really want to read, but I've been halfway through the first book for like 2 years now. I just am having a tough fantasy time right now. I'm not in my fantasy era. I'm still very much in my horror era, but I'm gonna hold on to this series, I think, but this is just a double copy I have for some reason. And then I have The Black Unicorn by Terry Brooks. I don't think I'm ever gonna get to it. I freaking love this cover though. This cover is amazing. Tammy Hogue book, Cold Heart. I don't think I'm gonna get to this one. I don't even remember where I got it. I've had it for years. This is just a crime thriller, and I see them around a lot at thrift stores, so if I do ever get an urge to pick up a Tammy Hogue, I can just thrift it. Libra by Dawn DeLillo. I've had this for years. I read it years ago. I went through a really big like postmodern bad phase, I guess, in my early 20s. Yes, was I that pretentious? Probably. And I love Dawn DeLillo. White Noise is still one of my favorite books of all time, I think. White Noise, Crime 49 by Thomas Pynchon. Yeah, Libra was not one of my favorites from him, so I don't know why I'm holding on to it. So I'm definitely just going to donate this one. And then Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. This is like a historical fiction book. I believe this is about the Black Plague, like historical stuff. I saw it everywhere at the beginning of our plague, and it intrigued me very much so. So I ordered it, and then I had a hold on it on Libby forever, and then I got the hold in, and I never listened to it. I think I got the hold in a couple of times, and I just never listened to it. It is very, very long. So I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. I am still interested in it, but yeah, I just don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Oh geez, another Tammy Hogue book, The Bitter Season. I'm unhauling. It's funny, it has the same picture of her on the back. I'm seeing double Tammy Hogue. Whoa. And then I found this Perfect Shadow by Brent Weeks. The Perfect Killer Has No Past. This is a short story, I guess, along with that series about the colors, the Black Prism book, I think. I read the first one and that one, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, even when I was in fantasy. I don't know why I have this. Maybe because I was like, this is the shortest fantasy book ever. And then I have a Mary Higgins Clark, which is a mystery writer, and I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. So some books that I have actually read. I read all these Saul books the past 3 months, these 3 Saul books, and they were very meh for me. I did enjoy Midnight Voices. I will say out of these, Midnight Voices was the most enjoyable one. Very weird. If you like Lock Every Door, this is like the OG Lock Every Door, but with a different type of twist. Yeah, and that's happening with John Saul books. I'm noticing that other authors have done something very similar to his books. I don't know, because he just wrote so many. But yeah, this one is still a 3-star, but I did really enjoy it. And yeah, I do highly suggest this one if you're looking for those Lock Every Door vibes, but these other ones, not so much. So a couple more Dawn DeLillo books that I'm getting rid of. The Names, which is an interesting book. I do recommend this book. It's just been years since I read it. And then Point Omega, and the other Anne Rule book here, In the Name of Love. So this is just a bunch of cases together that I think are like lover related or something like that. I don't think I'm ever going to get to this. A Jim Butcher book? Anybody? I read the first book in this Dresden Files series. I don't think I'm going to read the rest anytime soon. This book, I don't even know where it came from. The People's Police by Norman Spenyard. I don't think I'm ever going to get to this one. 2 more Tammy Hogue books. One of them is not in great condition. The whole back is missing. What? Uh-oh. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna donate these. And then another mystery book that I probably won't ever read. This is a John Sanford book, Certain Prey. The Prey series is really long. I always see the books everywhere. There's like 50 million of them, it seems like. And then more Mary Higgins Clark books for some reason. Why do I have so many Mary Higgins Clark's books? It's a mystery. I don't even know. This is another mystery book that I guess I was thinking of reading, and then another Tammy Hogue book that I probably won't ever get to, and then Raptor Red by Robert T. Baker. I did read this back in March and I did enjoy it, but I think I'm going to donate it so somebody else can enjoy it as well. And then Strange Bird by Jeff Vandermeer. I read this for a week of Weird. I did enjoy it, but also I think I'm going to donate it so somebody else can enjoy it. And then Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Powers. This was a 2-star for me. I did not enjoy it. I thought it was boring. So yeah, not a win for me. The Ring, I DNF'd it. I don't even want to like hold on to it, and it has such a cool cover. It's so cool, but I'm just like, this book made me so angry. I like don't even want to see it ever again. And then The God Project by John Saul, another John Saul book. I read, this one was okay. This one was very reminiscent of The Institute, and I gave it 3 stars. Again, I'm gonna say goodbye to another John Saul book. The Chill by Scott Carson. I've seen a lot of people DNF this recently, and I know Gabby from Gabby Reads DNF'd it a couple of years ago. So it's very long, and apparently there's a lot of like dam talk in it, like construction stuff. Not my forte, which is kind of a bummer because this seems like such a cool idea. Smoketown by Tine D. Thomas. This is a cool book. This is like a steampunk sci-fi book. I did enjoy this when I read it, but I don't see myself rereading it. and Pierre Renazzi. I'm probably mispronouncing that. And I read this book, oh my gosh, by Susanna Clark. I actually read this when I was coming out of my fantasy era, and I still really enjoyed it. It's not super fantasy heavy. It is different than your typical fantasy, I feel like. I feel like it mixes certain elements. It's like it's genre bending. Am I making any sense? But I did really like this book. It is sad though, and I gave it 5 stars, but I don't see myself rereading it ever, so I'm getting rid of it. And then Big Machine by Victor Laval. I read this, I forget when I read this, February maybe, and I realized, so I got this for Christmas because it was on my wish list. I already have a copy of this. It's not this great of a copy, but I still already have a copy of it, so that's why I'm getting rid of that one. And then The Terror by Dan Simmons. I read this last year and I did enjoy it. It is a chunker though, it's huge, and I'm not gonna reread it anytime soon, and I think I did the audio for it anyway, so it's available from my local library. And yeah, I just thought I'd get rid of it because it is so big, taking up some space on my shelves. And then I think I only have 2 more books over here left. A Michael Crichton book, For a Case of Need. I don't know why I had that. And then The Empire of Ice by Richard Moran. This kind of looks like a Michael Crichton-esque book. Yeah, I thought this was going to be like a creature feature book for some reason because it has this step back, but it's not. It's just about an underwater volcano, and I'm not super interested in that. So there is my book on haul. My Pango books will be linked down below. I will be listing some of these over there. Definitely not all. I will be donating most of them. But let me know if you unhauled books any time lately. What recently. And honestly, I'm just unhauling so I can just go to the bookstore right now and buy more books, if that makes any sense. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye!